Can we do it? Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite podcast. Riffin with Griffin, yeah. Whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with Griffin, yeah. This is Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with Griffin, baby. Woo! Golden pipes back in effect. Today's episode is one of my favorite type of episodes. I have so many movies and shows to talk about. That's the whole episode's gonna be about that. Got some good stuff. Good stuff, some bad stuff, some terrible stuff. Snow White, Severance, Adolescence, maybe even the Electric State. A lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of things to get to. I appreciate you guys being here as always. And you know how we do. Riffin with Griffin. Oh man, I started without even going to the right place. It's supposed to be on this tab. But whatever. Thanks for being here. Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with Griffin. Make sure you sub, guys, so you can get, when I'm going live, when I put up new videos. I'm putting up way more stand-up online, so check that out. I'm on Twitch always. And if you're a Twitch subscriber, when I put up the bonus content on Patreon, you get that. And the Patreon people, thank you for, hanging in there with me. Just a lot of stuff going on. I'm building this studio, and it's hard to get to everything. But, it's going to be consistent. We're getting there. And I appreciate you guys being here as always. And the live chat on YouTube right now. Thanks for being being here. And for everybody on, that listens, on any audio platform, all you truck drivers and all those people, I appreciate you guys for being a part of the Riffin with Griffin family. So thanks, for doing what you do out there when you doing it. I got some water with me today. So we're back. Getting just about one of my old microphones. I got to get my Shure mic fixed. Actually, I got another one, but But anyways, that's going to be for the studio. I don't want to use it in here. Y'all get it. So, anyways, y'all. Thanks for being here. Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with Griffin. You know what? We need to, before I even get to that. So, I got some, let me go to erikgriffin.com. Let's go to my schedule, guys. My schedule's trash. This thing is trash, but, I'm working on a new website. I did this joke on the Golden Hour where the guy that, I think it's somebody that, I don't know if it's the guy that makes Chris D'Elia's website, but whoever this guy is, he was like, yo, man, you want me to copy his site for you as a joke? And I was like, yeah, man. So we showed it to Chris on the episode. I was like, oh, yeah, here's my dates. And it looked just like his site. We had a good laugh about that. But then I looked at it and I was like, maybe I should just keep it. So we'll see how that goes. Wait, the screen share. But I do have dates, and I have extra dates that's not on this site, and I'm going to tell you about them right now. But this Friday, I'm going to be in Ontario Improv, so come check me out there. There's only 2 shows on Friday. But then I just booked today. They had a Fallout, so I'm stepping in, Fallout Phil. That's what they call me. So I'm going to be at Stand Up Live in Phoenix Saturday and Sunday this weekend. So come check me out there. And then I got a lot of dates in April. April is jam-packed. Hyenas in Albuquerque, Comedy Mothership, Comedy Club Kansas City, and Laughs in Seattle, all of April. So plenty of chances to come watch me perform, plus other dates with Matt Rife. So come, check me out there, guys. And if you want to see this other site, it's just so funny. Let's just look at that. There it is right there. Yes, erikgriffin.com. I mean, this looks dope, huh? I got to just... I might have to... Yeah, so you can see I probably really do need to use a site like this. But At this point now, it's kind of a joke. It's like a joke for me to like keep the shitty site. You know what I mean? Just to be consistent about it. But I don't know. We'll see. We will see, guys. So what did I do since the last episode? So I went to, let me just fill you in before we get into it. So I went to Minnesota and Pittsburgh with Matt Rife. And I put up this wait, I keep closing. I shouldn't close this. Wait, let me put this up here. So I put up this picture of Matt. So we flew private from Minnesota to Pittsburgh, which was, pretty amazing, really. And the reason is, when I put this picture up on Instagram, it's a current picture I have on Instagram. Well, let me see what this looks like when I look at this. Let's see, Instagram post. I don't know why this is messed up. I thought I'd fix this. Look at this. Unbelievable. There we go. So I put up this picture of Matt and I, and it, from now. So this is now, but and then I had this other picture I've showed before, but this is like the first time I met him. Was this the first time I met? Actually, there was a different picture the first time I met him. We were standing in Pittsburgh. That was so funny about being in Pittsburgh with him, because the last time we were in Pittsburgh together was the first time I met him, and he came to the show, to do stand up. Hey, can I open for you? And he rode a bus to come see me, to open, and he bombed terribly. It was so funny how bad he was. This little, he thought he was this little hip hop kid. It was so funny. And then we just stayed close, ever since. And now cut to this, where I'm now opening for him. He's making millions of dollars and doing arenas. And all I can feel is just pride and the love I have for the kid. I used to call him Little Matt. That was how I used to call him all the time. I'd be like, yo, where's this little Matt's coming, And now he's still Little Matt to me, but it's just full circle. 13 years later, 13 years, that's how hard the kid has been working. 13 years later, at not even 30 years old, and he has generational wealth. And he's just like a big megastar, and I couldn't be prouder. So that's just funny how life works. So we went to this, so we went to Pittsburgh and Minnesota, and these arenas, man, 14,000 people, and you're just like, I got to tell you, man, I don't know you people, if some of you people have never performed, I don't know. I performed in front of big crowds before. Actually, I think the Hollywood Bowl was probably one of the biggest crowds I've ever performed in front of, because that was like 17,000 people. But I wasn't thinking about it like I think about it now. After doing these two arenas, there's something about so many people collectively listening to you, And I'm doing my jokes, and I'm doing them like I'm in a comedy club, and you get the laughter just reverberates down to you, and you go, man, is there, even if 500 people in here didn't like the joke, so many more did, you know what I mean? But it's so powerful. There's something powerful. Let me tell you the most powerful moment, okay? I had, whatever joke I'm talking about, it doesn't matter. But within the joke, I have a pause because I'm about to say something. Like I'm letting the crowd know in the joke that I'm thinking, and then I say something. And in the middle of this joke to say, and then I thought about it. If I say that in the joke, I'm saying like, that's exactly the words I used to, I thought about it, and then I take a pause, and for the entire place to be silent, waiting for me is powerful. There's just something. I've never felt more like, man, I'm in charge, like the king of what I do. You know what I mean? I just felt like, oh man, I was born to do this. Like there's something about stand-up comedy and that live performance and like moving an entire crowd. There's nothing like it. And then all the messages that I received, like from Minnesota and Pittsburgh people, like, oh man, you're so funny. When are you coming back? Or like, so now I'm like, so I already got dates. I'm going to be in Minnesota November 5th. I don't have a Pittsburgh date set up yet, but we're working on it because, man, all these people saw me. It's great. nothing more validating, like, oh, this is what I was meant to do type of moment, is just being on that stage and experiencing that. It was great. Shout out to Matt Rife for having me with him, man. It's great, But anyways, let's get to comments real quick. Probably won't do a lot of these, but it is what it is. Let's see what we got here. All right. Richard's World said, hey, I'm listening to the pod, and I'm usually a week off, but I'm listening to the part about Tom Cruise being Jack Reacher. I don't think there was social media like now, and how everyone is offended by everything. Michael Clark Duncan played Kingpin and no one complained. It's all political these days, especially when the left pushed DEI. I do agree it does matter he says, I do agree it doesn't matter that they are fake characters, but politics has us all messed up these days. Rich, I could not agree more with you. And I do remember when Michael Clark Duncan played Kingpin, but you know what? He was closer to the description of what Kingpin was, as opposed to if it would have been like a little short white guy. Like, what if Tom Cruise had been Kingpin? You know what I mean? That would be like equivalent to like, would people be as up in arms as they are now? But you know what? You are right. And I've talked about this before, and I do feel like we are so politically charged right now that no matter what goes on, there's going to be something. But I do feel like there are people who make race bigger than it should be. That everything's about race, or that's like the biggest, most damning thing that it could ever happen. So I just find it interesting that, when they do come out with something like, and they make, they like, the whole point I'm talking about right now for people that don't know is like, they're making Severus Snape in the new Harry Potter series is this black actor. My first thoughts about it was, I think the guy's too handsome to play Snape. I don't care about him being black. That's not something that concerns, as long as it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like in Wicked, for instance. In Wicked, the girl's black, even though she's green, but she's black. But you see her origin story. This white guy is, he's dating this black woman, and he gets her pregnant. Then they get married. They're married. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense, and then it doesn't matter. So we just need to know that the Snape story makes sense. But anyways, the point is, of course, there's a lot of people like, oh, this one guy said, you got to stay true to the description. And I often think that when people say that, they're only talking about race. So I was bringing up the point about Jack Reacher in the book. He's described as a big, gigantic man. And Tom Cruise played it, and the movie was a smash hit, and it wasn't a big deal. But, another person commented last week saying, like, there were the Jack Reacher fans who didn't go up in arms. But I'm not talking about those people, because those people are more in line with what I'm saying, that it's really about, why is this guy playing this? That's great that they were up in arms because they wanted to stay true to the book, even though it's nerdy, right? But I'm saying a lot of people that get mad about that stuff now, it's all about race. You know what I mean? I think it's stupid. But anyway, whatevers. Thanks for that comment. Great. Let's see. Any ideas of what's next if the golden hour comes to an end? Well, there's no plans for the golden hour to come to an end. I know Brendan is moving to Austin, but rest assured, everyone, the golden hour will continue. So if you're a fan of that, keep watching there. Let's see here. What else we got here? Yes, so somebody see here's an example. This guy didn't listen to the episode or anything. This guy, he commented on the Bobby Lee episode, but he didn't listen to this because he says, "This is what I'm so glad. This comment is apropos, as they say. What about Snape being black in the new Harry Potter series? Snape is white. See what I'm saying? That's a good example right there. It just has to make sense. But he was referencing that me and Bobby were having a discussion about the Ring of Power series, and there's black hobbits, and he was like, where did they come from? And that's my thing too. Like, you can't just add some black hobbits to a whole neighborhood of hobbits and be like, well, is there a black neighborhood here, or is it just like there's a few black hobbits, and why is there only a few? Or you know what I mean? Like, your brain, you just want stuff to make sense. You know what I mean? Like we're in a multiverse. Like Hollywood has put multiverse in our head. So now we're, if there's an Iron Man movie now, we're like, well, where's Thor? Where's Hulk? Where's they live in this universe. We don't compartmentalize anymore. So when we look at something like that, we're like, okay, so you got Black Hobbits. Okay, is there like a Compton? Lord of the Comptons or something? Like where's that neighborhood? Why is there only 3? You know what I mean? It's weird. So that's what that was about. Anyways, that's enough of that. Thanks for commenting. You guys can comment. You can send Instagram messages or something like that. I'm always around. All right, let's get to it, guys. I want to get to all my reviews for this week. And spoiler alert. There might be some spoilers. I'm just telling you right now, there might be some spoilers. So if you want to go away now, you can, to go watch whatever you're going to watch. But at this point, it doesn't matter. Let's start with some good, and then we'll go to some bad. Let's start with Severance, man. Severance. Ooh-wee. So I don't know if you watch Severance on Apple TV. Now, I don't want to be an Apple TV spokesperson, but I will say this. You should get the, what do you call it? Get the Apple TV, on your iPhone, if you get there's like a plan, like an Apple Care or something like that. One of these things where you could get, this is what you get. You get the news app, which is great, by the way, because you know how you go to a news program now and it'll be like, oh, you have to sign up if you want to read the Wall Street Journal article, that kind of stuff. This is, you get it. You get that. You get 2 terabytes of space, which is important on the iCloud. And then you get Apple TV. And it's like, I don't know how much is it a month, but to me, it's worth it for all those things because I use all that stuff, So anyways, Apple TV. So Apple TV, they have some great series. I like them. Even though I just saw an article that they said that Apple has lost $5 billion on these projects because they don't make any money. Like, you know what I mean? They're not in theaters. People already have an iPhone. So I don't know if people are buying an iPhone. It should be that you have to have an iPhone to watch, but I don't know if they want to do that because then maybe if you have, you can also get Apple Music, by the way. You get out. So that's actually a great deal. You get Apple Music, if you want to, instead, let's say you don't want to pay for Spotify or whatever it is, you could pay for Apple Music. So you get Apple Music, which you can have 5 family members on. Everybody shares this stuff too. And when you have this, they can share the apps too. So if you buy Final Cut Pro, everybody on your plan can share it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of benefits to it. But anyways, I'm not getting no money from Apple, what I should. But this is one of the things. So Severance is this great show, okay? It's directed by Ben Stiller. I think he's one of the producers too. It stars Adam Scott. And some other people that probably you don't know by name, But if you don't know what Severance is about, okay, so Mark leads a team of office workers whose memories have been surgically divided between their work and personal life. All right, so that's just basically that's the premise of the show. Premise of the show is like, I'm Eric, hey, everybody, and then I have my home life. And then when I go to work and I go in an elevator, a new consciousness forms, and that's my work life, And but ethically, that's a whole other person. I mean, that's what it delves into, And this is like, let's see, I think they only have 2 seasons, right? It's only 2 seasons, yeah. There's only 2 seasons, so this season was like trying to explain, and I gotta say I can't say that I fully understand season 2. I don't, but I did enjoy that you could see that it's some sort of like, like this is some sort of like, what do you call it? Some kind of religious cult. That's what it's turned into, where you're like, oh, that's what these people are doing this for. And you still don't know why they're really doing it. Well, I don't really know why. From watching it, I didn't have an aha moment when I was watching it. I didn't have a moment where I was like, aha, that's what this is about. But it's really great though. Like the acting is like Patricia Arquette. Is that her name? Oh man, she's so good, dude. Cause she like worked for the company yeah, like she worked for the company. She plays Harmony Cobell. She worked for the company and they got fired, but then you find out that she actually invented all this technology. And then Mark's wife, if you watched last season, he finds out that his wife is not dead. She didn't die. She actually is alive by being kidnapped by this company who was doing experiments on her. So again, super spoiler right now though. Okay. So I told you already, so I don't feel bad. They made, apparently the wife is being experimented on. So so Mark is two personalities. It's Mark and Mark, the work Mark. With her, they're trying to make 25 different people in one person. Talk about split personality, man. But when if you think about if Severance was real, and that's what I love about the show, because it makes you go, damn, what would you do? But it's actually pretty horrible. I think it would be pretty horrible to be the work person. I'm thinking about it right. What if I was severed and it was just for Riffin with Griffin? So you're telling me that every time I'm conscious of where I am, I'm sitting here? This is my whole life? That I'm just sitting here. And then when I finish, I'm Erik Griffin with my family, and I don't ever get to experience that. So I think that it is I get what and in that universe too, they had say if they had you don't remember the childbirth. Which again, as I think about it, is horrible. So imagine you're some split personality and you go into this childbirthing cabin and you wake up and you're just pregnant. Your first consciousness as a real person is you're pregnant. And then you have a baby and then they kill you, basically, because if they turn off that other presence, you're not alive anymore. So now you're just what? So they had this great scene in this season where Mark S., played by Adam Scott, is having a conversation with himself because he records himself and then he goes so we're in this cabin. So he's recording himself and then he goes outside, he changes back to the other guy and he listens to it and then he responds and they're arguing and it's great. Severance is a great show. It's not always going to be easily understood. I'm going to say that right there. You know what I mean? It's that part of it's weird, but how they go about it is pretty fascinating. And one of the guys, this guy that I wish I had this part actually, when I see the guy, I go, I could have been this guy, but he's played by Zach Cherry. He's doing oh my God, he's doing such a great job, and they had this great thing where his, so they had a big rebellion in the last season. So the end of the season, they figured out how to turn it off and be their real self. They figured a way to get their innie to be outie. They call them innies and outies. Okay. So this guy, his outie is kind of a dick. I thought the innie was kind of a dick too, being honest, but that was the character choice. It was great. So he's not necessarily having marital problems, but you could see marital problems coming. So then to keep this guy satisfied, what they do is the company says, you know what, we'll have a visiting day where your family, your wife can come visit you as the other person, the innie. And then the wife likes the innie better, and I thought that was, it was great. You know what I mean? I thought that was great. Of course, here's this different person, the guy's acting his ass off. So kudos to him, Zach Cherry. It's really great. Yeah, man. Severance is it really makes you think. But that's me though. I like to overthink things sometimes. I love universes, man. That's why I need things to make sense. You understand what I'm saying? I need it to make sense. I don't want to be distracted by things that are you know what I mean? It's I always use this as a reference. I don't want to be distracted by Black Little Mermaid's dad being Spanish. I don't want to be distracted by that. Because then I'm why is he Spanish? What? Why is the sister Asian? So now I can't even get involved in the universe because you're trying to do some nonsense that takes me out of it. You know what I mean? Even in a movie like John Wick, John Wick, let me tell you something. It rides the line of suspension of disbelief to the point where you're I like this guy, John Wick, I think I'm back, right? You like John Wick. And then you go, wow, I guess he could beat up 100 people and kill 700 people in 4 movies. He's pretty trained. You kind of believe this, like. But here's the thing: he falls out of a 2-story building and lands on a car and walks away. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? That's when we're just like, come on, man. So it's always riding hard on the suspension of disbelief. So I think the more a show can make you really dive into a universe and contemplate things, that makes for a great show. And I think that that Severance really, it's right there. It just, everything falls into place and makes sense. You know what I mean? And whatever you could nitpick anything, obviously, of course. But I feel like if you get me involved in the universe, this is just for my thoughts, I love it. If I'm like, oh wow, and I start thinking about, man, what if I was severed? And you start doing all that, chef's kiss to you. So I highly recommend Severance. If you haven't started it, I think you should start it. So you'll have 20 episodes to watch, which will be great. I don't know if there's going to be a season 3. I hope so. I think with all these reports of Apple losing so much money, but they make so much money. So it's like, whatever. I think so who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? I hope they do, because I got to tell you, this show is just great. Yeah, somebody in the chat said, arbitrary suspension of disbelief is such a vibe killer. Oh, that's such a great way to put it, dude. Thanks, Joe. That's a great way to put it, because that's the thing. You're already like, okay. You know what I mean? But I'm a nerd like that. I'm going to give you another example of something that threw me off. So, like, one of the Superman movies, I don't know if it was the Batman one, but like, what's his name? Russell Crowe. Was it Russell Crowe? I think Russell Crowe's playing his dad, right? Was it Russell Crowe? Yeah, it was Russell Crowe. He's playing like whatever, Superman's father. What's Superman's father's name? God, my brain is like, I'm getting brain fog. I'm too old. I gotta work out. I really do. I'm killing myself right now. But anyways, he's in the movie. He's like in a computer. He's a computer. He's a computer, and he's a computer generated consciousness. Like his father's consciousness is in this computer, right? And so he's telling Superman where to go, and he goes like this, He does this big exaggerated motion, like and then the door opens. All I can think of when I was watching this was, why the fuck did he do that? He's a computer. He could have just looked, and the door opened, and we would have got that he did that. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm sitting here like, that's stupid. Like, it took me completely out of the moment, because I felt like it was, it was crazy. No, his real father, Jarrell. Thank you. I remembered it. Jarrell. I knew I was getting confused with Gerard Butler. It's Jarrell. Yeah. So, so it's still, but that's what I'm saying. That when you're when you are riding the line of suspension of disbelief, any little nonsense will take you out of it. And if you go into the movie and you're already out of it because of like, they, DEI or you just feel like whatever you think is bothering you, it's going to be way harder to enjoy the movie and really get into the suspension of disbelief. You know what I mean? It's so, Anyways, back to it. Severance does a great job. I think it's a great movie, and I highly recommend it, and I'm giving it 5 woo-woos. We're going 1 out of 5 today, so 5 woo-woos is really great. You got to watch it. Woo, 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 woo. Okay, all right. Next up on the docket, let's go bad. Let's go bad. And when I say bad, I mean real bad. Snow White. So, man, it's hard to, Snow White. What are we going to say? So everybody knows Snow White is starring Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler, Gal Gadot, Snow White. You know what I mean? It's, What can I say about Snow White that hasn't already been said? If you know the story of Snow White, it's an old-ass story of a princess and her father is, seduced by an evil queen who takes over, and Snow White is now, whatever. So you got this evil queen. And it's played by Wonder Woman. We're going to call her Wonder Woman because she's always going to be Wonder Woman to me. So Wonder Woman's the evil queen that seduces the dad, and she's a witch, and she has this magic mirror on the wall. And we all know the story of Snow White, or maybe you don't because you're too young, but most of us do. If you're old, you know the story of Snow White. And what does the beautiful witch say? She looks into the mirror and she says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And the mirror is always like, "Girl, it's you. Turn around, let me see. God damn, you fine." That's what, well, if I was the mirror, that's what. But anyways, the mirror's like, "You are the fairest. You're the most beautiful woman," right? Until Snow White comes of age or whatever. And then now the mirror's like, "I'm sorry, queen. It's Snow White." Here's my problem with that. Love Rachel Zegler. I think she's getting a lot of hate. She's getting some awful things about her, okay? People are saying awful things. But I tell you what, she ain't finer than Wonder Woman. You hear what I'm saying? So, sorry, I'm out. That alone, I'm out. When the mirror's like, "Snow White is the fairest," I'm like, no, she ain't. Have you seen Wonder Woman? Like, sorry. So that ruins my suspension of disbelief immediately in this movie. So then, of course, she meets some dwarfs, and there's 7 dwarfs, and it's, Sleepy, Grumpy, Doc. I don't know all the other ones. Some dumbass dwarfs, right? Here's my thing about the dwarfs. Okay, so you got the dwarfs, whatever. Let's just move on. And then, of course, there's Prince Charming and everything, whatever, okay? So here's the thing. So the movie started off on a bad foot before the movie was even made because of the young Rachel Zegler, okay? Now, let's talk about Rachel Zegler for a second. Rachel Zegler, the person in public she is shown to be, is insufferable, okay? Just, my God, shut up. That's the vibe you get when you're watching her. You just go, oh my God, right? But hey, I'm going to give her a little bit of grace here. She's young, I think she's young and brash, opinionated, very talented. She's talented and arrogant because of her talent. She's a great actress. She's a great singer. She really is great at what she does, but it's hard to separate the person that we know in public with, here's this character and all we can think of is, oh, that's the girl that runs her mouth, which sucks, And I can relate to that, actually. I think podcasting and all this kind of stuff, people don't, it's separate from like who you are as an actor, And I think that like, I'm a victim of that myself, So like I have, and it's a self-inflicted, I did this to myself, So like sometimes there's a character that I play with my comic friends where I'm the grumpy guy, you know what I mean? And they make fun of me and they tease me, they bring me on their things and they do so, and I take it, you know what I mean? And then I respond in the way that I respond. But what I've found in recent years is that has turned into like, oh, I'm a grumpy whatever person, And I go, that's my own fault. You know what I mean? And then I think podcasting bleeds into your stand-up where when you're trying to do jokes, you're doing this, you're trying to make a point and you're talking. And I think that, it's like the podcast has infected the comedy when the comedy should infect the podcast, right? So you get all these like impressions of yourself. You have a bad impression of yourself that's not necessarily you, but it is what it is because it's out there like that, And I think that Rachel Zegler is a victim of that. And also just being young and brash and arrogant and all this stuff. And she just had this it's this sort of feminist view. I don't really consider it a feminist view. I think it's just her view. It's kind of like their cartoon version of feminist, I don't need a Prince Charming to save me. And, oh God, the original movie was scary. It's a really cringe, she's cringe. Let the young kids say, right? Is that what the kids are saying? Cringe? I think it is. I think it's super cringe. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that it's you know what I mean? It's so. Anyways, I give her some grace. You know what I mean? I give her some grace. So, but I think that has affected the movie. So all the controversy about her and all the stuff she was saying, and then Disney's already getting a bad rap for the whole, DEI, they keep changing things and all this. So they're already getting a bad rap about that they've gone away from family values and everything. Now you got this chick doing her stuff. So then the movie comes out, right? So I go see the movie. And I'll tell you this, man. So I thought I was going to walk into a DEI mess. And by the way, these 7 dwarves, they had a whole thing about the dwarves. So they spent all this money on this weird CGI version of real people that they turned into dwarves in the movie. It was so weird. It was terrible CGI. You're just like, what is this? It was so distracting, right? Anyways, so you think you're going to walk into this movie and be like, oh man, it's just going to be a woke mess. I got to say, that wasn't the problem with the movie. The wokeness wasn't a problem. It was just terrible. I mean, it was just boring. I mean, the movie was a snooze fest, man. Snooze fest. Oh, the little change they made about her being more of a strong woman and helping it wasn't even a Prince Charming. It was more like the guy was Robin Hood. It was so weird that they changed that, right? So, okay, fine. He's not a prince, okay? He's just some street thug. Some white boy from the forest, you know what I mean? Yeah, okay. I don't know why white boys in the forest got to be hot. That don't make no sense. But anyways, I was fine with that. I'm fine with the girl trying to help herself. That's great. You know what I mean? People are trying to rescue you and save you, and you get involved. Good for you. That doesn't take away from the movie. But it being like, oh my God, and they're singing. Every song is dramatic as fuck. And this is the thing that got me. Every time they finished a song in the movie, they did a pose like it was a play. So she would be like, and then everybody would go. And you're like, what? Who's that for? It's a movie. So the songs were too dramatic. Her haircut was just update the haircut, and then, you got Wonder Woman who I don't know. She wasn't great in this, but I didn't know she could sing. I just know that the 7 dwarves weren't some 7 something else's at all. I think it was all white dwarves. Just by the way, just to make y'all, it was all white dwarves. So they kept that. It looked like that to me, but this movie was just objectively terrible. Okay. The singing was crazy. It wasn't a fun movie. It dragged. It was long. And then here's spoiler alert. Okay. So this evil queen, right? This evil queen takes over this kingdom, sends the father off to his death, puts the daughter in slavery. She's taking money and everything from the people, and the people hate her, and she's got an iron thumb on the whole kingdom, right? But the movie ends with Snow White walking through the village, some little ass village, and all the people start following her like, oh wow, it's Princess Snow White, and she just walks up to the gate. And she gives a little speech, and then everybody turns on the evil queen like that. They turn on her like this, and then banish her. Get out of here. That's all it took? What the bitch? Then you should have done that from jump. There was no fight. That's where I was like, what? So you could just get rid of the queen like this? No fight? No fight. Just some stern words, and she was gone. So, I mean, It's just gets no woo-woos, okay? This just gets a, you know what I mean? That's all they got. So see it at your own peril. Wait for it to come on Disney Plus and then watch it. It's probably fine. You know what I mean? I think once you get past all of the nonsense, just get past all of the nonsense of the just this girl. But like I say, sometimes it's hard to separate the person from the art. You know, some people can do it, some people can't. But this was not it. Not it. Just terrible. All right, let's go to good. Let's go to a good. Guys, I'm going to tell you something right now. Let's go to this here. I want to tell you something. This show on Netflix called Adolescence. It's about a 13-year-old is accused of murder of a classmate. His family therapist and the detectives in charge are all left asking what really happened. There's only 4 episodes of this show. Okay? But I got to tell you. Adolescence. This is, in my opinion, some of the best filmmaking art I have seen in years. I highly recommend this show. I think it hits harder for me because I'm a dad now. But, okay, so let me tell you the magic of this show. The first thing is they making it seem as if the show is a one shot. They filmed it that way, and it's amazing. So what I mean by that is there's no cuts. It's just one camera following all of the actors in action. They even get in a car and drive someplace. It's a one shot, you know, and the show opens up with the cops busting into this place. It's British. This is all done in Britain or wherever, someplace in Great Britain, you know, and they get this kid who's accused of murder. So the kid, so the let's see, Owen Cooper, Stephen Graham, and Ashley Walters. I don't know who's who. Owen Cooper, this kid. Let me tell you something right now. If this kid don't win an Emmy, then there's no such thing as what good acting is. This kid is spectacular, man. The father, Stephen Graham, that guy, spectacular. Everybody is spectacular. But let me tell you the magic of it. So you first watch it and you're going to be amazed because you're going to be like, what? They haven't cut. The camera, it's just one camera and the camera keeps moving and getting shots and slowly moving and getting around everybody and getting the story. So at first you're going to be like, or is it Scotland? I don't know. I thought it was Britain, but it could be Scotland. I don't know. But they seem to be speaking in whatever accent. It doesn't matter, guys. It's in Europe, okay? So you're watching and you're like, how'd they do this? That for me, I was watching the first episode and I was like, what? They're not going to cut? And then I'm looking for like little tricks. Because in the movie 1917, they did the same thing. It was supposed to be a one-shot movie, but you could see when they cut. Because maybe the camera panned past a door frame. Then you know that's a cut. That's where they did a cut. Okay, there's many cuts in that movie, but they made it seem as if the whole movie was a oneer. In this, it's hard to find. It's hard to see. But maybe with CGI and all that kind of stuff, maybe it's, you know, but I'm telling you, but once you get past that, being amazed by like, wow, how'd they do this? You really get lost in these performances. And they're great. Every single person in this show is great. And the real thing about it is you get this message. If you're a dad, you have this kid, Owen Cooper, he's playing a kid, Jamie Miller. He's accused of murdering this girl, you know, and in the end, you know, spoiler, this isn't really a spoiler, but it's just a spoiler about the theme of it, you know, where, you know, the dad is asking himself, like, you know, did we not do a good job? You know, the dad is like, did I affect, am I too angry? Or, you know what I mean? Is that kind of vibe? And oh man, that hit hard with me. I'm an emotional guy. I really am. I'm emotional. I make big pronouncements, you know, and sometimes I'm like that at home. You know, Rachel will say something, I'll be like, what are you talking about? You know, I don't mean to be like, you know, like as if it's coming across as it's just a nature of performance, you know. I'm always on stage and I'm always like, you know, making big things, you know. But now you have a kid and it's like, do you want him to see that? Is that going to affect him? Is it going to affect how he reacts to other people? So it's like, it really made me think. There's just so many things to think about. I just want to tell y'all, you got to watch this show. It's only 4 episodes. You may hate it. You may be like, Griffin, you're totally off base. But look, I'm directing things now, just as trying to be a director of movies and television as well. I'm amazed about what they did in this, because they had to think about the lighting and that when the extras were going to come through, and these shots, the locations, making sure the guy lands in the right spot to get the great shot of a room, and using the mirrors, and it was so good. I'm telling you right now, it's great. This is a great show. It gets 5 woo-woos. Adolescence, Netflix. Make sure you watch it, y'all. Really fantastic show. Okay, last on the list. Now we go bad. We'll finish with something bad. I don't have this one in the title, but it's like whatever. This is this movie I saw on Netflix called The Electric State. The Electric State, I don't know if anybody saw it. It's starring Chris Pratt, Millie Bobby Brown, and Woody Harrelson. Oh, I didn't know Woody Harrelson. Oh, I guess he was probably the Peanut or something. Yeah, let's see wait, let me see what Woody Harrelson was playing. I didn't know Woody Harrelson was in it. Yeah, I don't even know that. This kid was great. Woody Harrelson. Yeah, Mr. Peanut. Yeah, he played Mr. Peanut. This movie was just, guys, I don't know what to say. I don't know what the hell this movie was about. This Electric State was some kind of weird Terminator. Some kind of based in the past type of, like in the 90s or something. It was some kind of weird. And it's the Russo brothers directed this too. I'm like, what are you guys doing? It's like a robot revolution. Let me see. An orphan teen hits the road with a mysterious robot to find her long-lost brother, teaming up with a smuggler and his wisecracking sidekick. Wow, that tells you nothing, right? It's about this robot revolution, and they do this thing all the time where robots got to have consciousness. Can we stop this already? Can you just make a robot that's a robot? Why does the robot always have to become alive? Now my robot got to have robot rights. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You're like, what? This is my cleaning robot. Not a cleaning robot is like, yo, I need a break. And I'm like, what, bitch? I made you to clean. Now you don't want to clean? It would be like if your car came alive. Like your car comes alive. Your car's like, I'm tired of all I do is drive you around. Like I need some vacation time. Can you get me to a car wash more than once a week? More than once a month? You're like, wait a minute, man. So this is one of those movies, just like that stupid show on HBO where you go into a robot island to punch somebody in the face that's not real, and it turns out they got feelings. What? So this is that again. Of course, and then in the movie, the bad guys are always the human beings. The robots are fine, and the bad guys are terrible. That's what this is. So and I don't know. So then this is one of my problems too. About suspending your disbelief. Millie Bobby Brown is an old soul, man. She really is an old soul. So, I don't believe her playing a teenager anymore. She looked 35, She carries herself so she's supposed to be this orphan teen. And then, they show up with Chris Pratt, right? And you see her and you're like, oh, they should be dating, it feels like. He's like, hey, young lady type of thing. I'm like, no, I'm out. I don't believe it. She too old. She look like she's 25. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It don't look like what they're trying to say, right? And I think it's about her maturity. I think she just really is. She really carries herself. She just got an old soul. That's the best way I could say it. So I'm out on that. The robots look crazy. I didn't understand. I don't know. I didn't understand this movie. I don't know why they made this movie. I don't know why they spent so much money on this movie. The movie had no message other than the same thing as human beings are terrible. That's the overall message of anytime they make a robot movie where robots come alive. You know what I mean? Westworld is the movie. Westworld, this is the same kind of thing. Westworld makes no sense to me. Here you making a vacation place where you could go be with these robots that you're supposed to know aren't real people. So you could do whatever you want. It's like a, paradise. You're having orgies or hey, listen, you want to punch somebody in the face? This is where you go. You want to be an action hero? You go to Westworld where you could shoot up. You could, you know what I mean? You could bust out of a Western saloon and you could have a gunfight and kill people. That's supposed to be the vacation land. That's the escape, the futuristic escape world. The moment you go, well, the robots actually have, they're sentient. Oh my God. Now we're terrible. Like, I'm tired of this premise. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of robots, becoming conscious and taking over everything. I'm tired of that. But the one I'm also tired of is, so we made a robot to do a task, and now the robot's real and don't want to do the task. Now we're abusers. It's always making human beings abusers. It's like, shut up with this. It's a trash premise. It's trash. Can we just have it be what it is? But I guess that's no drama in that. You know what I mean? There's no drama in, you just go to an island where you just can have sex with robots, no matter what age they are, no matter what size they are, and then you can punch them in the face, or you could do whatever you want, right? Because they're robots. I guess that would be boring. You know what I mean? So that's, I don't know. I think it's funny. So, I don't know. It's a weird, it's a weird show. You know what I mean? It's just a weird movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know if anybody see it and like it. Maybe you liked it. Can you tell me what you liked about it? And I guess like the main thing for me too was like, I didn't know what this movie was about, right? That's all. I was like, what's this about? What is this about? I couldn't get past that. I just was watching because I was in my hotel room. I was just in my hotel room watching on my iPad, and I just was like lost in like what is happening? Why are they doing this? It's just like, it wasn't a story I really cared about. So it just was not. Somebody said Electric State was not great. Yeah, that's a great way to say it. It wasn't great. I don't think it was terrible. I just didn't know why they made this. I was like, why'd they make this? Like, I didn't leave it going, you know what? I gotta treat my vacuum better. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know what I was supposed to say. You know what I mean? I didn't know what I was supposed to say. I don't know. I didn't know what I was supposed to say or feel. It was weird. I'll just say that. You know what I mean? Just weird. But anyways, that's it for today, y'all. Love y'all. Studio's coming together. We're getting that once again this weekend. If you're in Arizona, I'm going to be in Arizona. I'm going to be at Stand Up Live Saturday and Sunday. 2 shows Saturday, 1 show Sunday. I think there was some kind of fallout. I'll be there Friday. Friday, I'll be in the Ontario Improv here in Riverside, California, Ontario, Riverside area. So 2 shows on Friday. Get tickets for that. Get tickets for, if you're in Arizona. And I'll see you. Listen, you guys have been great. Make sure you sub. Hit the subscribe button, y'all. Hit that Twitch. Okay. And then, of course, be there on Patreon. You guys are great, man. I appreciate, I appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate you guys watching, And all my listeners out there, just the audio people, you guys are great. I hope I help your day go by, even if I just bore you to death where you don't have to worry, or I'm putting you to sleep, or you're interested in what I'm saying. Either way, thank you for listening, and I appreciate you guys on the audio side, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, and you YouTubers, we're done. You know, thanks for being here, guys. You know what I mean? Thanks for being here. Much love to you. All right, much love to you.